Call 911. Grampy's on the roof again. Now, the shingles come down, and underneath the shingle layer here is an underlayment. And I don't know if you can see that or not. The camera's, there we go. Now, see that orange in there, that oriented strand board? We're not supposed to be seeing that. The black mat underneath it, the underlayment, is supposed to continue on. It's supposed to continue on until it goes underneath this drip edge flashing. And it doesn't. Okay, so we got exposed OSB board around the perimeter. It's my understanding, I've read some documentation about this home, but I haven't read the seller's disclosure. And reading any kind of documentation like that, by the way, is beyond the scope of an inspection. But the seller's disclosure, as my understanding, is that my client's under the impression that this roof is about 3 years old. Now, I did see another inspection report, and it showed some damage up here. I remember seeing that, and it could be 3 years old. There's an inspector's colloquialism that all roofs look good when they're wet, and this roof is wet. I probably shouldn't be up here. Now, if it dries up a little bit, I'll try and get back up here, but it's been raining all morning with heavy rains, and the roof's wet, see? And but I don't know if it's going to rain. The weatherman hasn't taken rain off the menu, so it might be raining later. So this might be my best opportunity to get up here. See the siding? Okay, that's a fascia board right there. It's not supposed to be in direct contact with the roof covering. And see this right here? See that hole in there? That's a drain hole. See how it's wet all in here and it's dry here? It's because all the water from the rain gutters is pouring down directly onto the roof covering. Now, is this area going to age faster than this area right here? You bet it will. You bet it will. Are rain gutters supposed to discharge directly onto the roof covering? Nope. Nope, they're sure not. What's the answer to that? Would be putting a rain gutter that goes straight down in front of the house? The answer would be aesthetically unpleasing on most days. Would I change it? I don't know. I don't know. I'll stay mum about that, whether I would change that or not. But your rain gutter is not supposed to drain on the top, and the siding, the fascia board, is not supposed to be in direct contact with the roof covering. That will allow, you can see it. You think that's rotting? You think that wood's wet in there? I do. Think it's going to last very long? Not much longer. Got some more impact marks here. Now, I realize this roof isn't very old. I also am, and this is called wind damage. I'm also under the impression that there's been some repairs done to the roof. Judging from some documentation that I've seen, repairs are good. Is this roof going to perform for us? I haven't been in the attic yet. These are the exhaust vents, wind turbines. I haven't been in the attic yet. I don't know if this roof is performing for us or not. You think wind's gonna blow up underneath that? You think wind and rain's gonna get up in here where my hand is? I do. Now this doesn't look like wind damage to me. This looks like cuts, overcuts. Probably when they're cutting the shingles and stuff that are up here, they're messing with it, and the knife went too far and scored it. And yeah, those shingles should have been replaced. Come on, Jody. This is wind damage right in here. So they all look good when they're wet. Latent hail damage is beyond the scope of this inspection. There's your neighbor right there. Hello, neighbor. Alright, so latent hail damage is beyond the scope of this inspection. You know, but if it's obvious, I like to catch it. If it's obvious, we want to see it. This is the second verse, same as the first. Coming along here, I don't see much different. The siding's still touching. The rain gutter's still leaking on it. And you see these deflections? Alright? The technical word for that is sumping. And I say deflections because unfortunately you can look at this roof and this roof and this roof over here. You can go over to my house and look at my roof. You know, in a perfect world these would all be, you know, ideal, you know, engineered straight planes, but you're going to get some deflections. If it's exaggerated, then I call it by its proper name, which would be sumping, and then that would be more of an indication that there's a problem. My understanding is that sumping was more or less identified in a previous inspection report, and that there's been, you know, I expect to see, you know, some carpentry work in the attic. We'll find out. We'll find out. How's the flashing doing around this chimney here? It's hardly ever done right. And there's another example of it. You think wind-driven rain can get up in there? What do you think you see water stains around chimneys and all the roof pictures? All of them. You think wind-driven rain's going to get up in that? I do. Now, there isn't enough area up here to even require to make necessary use of a cricket, or some people call them saddles. So when you get a chimney that's this close to the hip and the top ridge like this, this is the best way you can handle that. We got some repairs here. See where they've been. Just got up here and put some glue. No sense in putting a new shingle there. That would be real difficult. Stick a shingle right there on top. Let's just stick some glue on it. You think this is going to dry and get hard? I do. You think this is loose? You know, it was already loose. There's no reason why. There's no reason why they couldn't have taken this shingle off. So you're going to come up here about once a year to make sure this glue doesn't dry and get hard. In case you're not doing anything, you know. Also, if you'll notice, the hue of the shingles is different. And for a 3-year-old roof, I don't usually see that very often. I mean, they could have done that by design, you know, like a subtle architectural detail. But I doubt it. I'm going to say that this roof covering is about in the middle of an estimated 14-year service life average. You know, it's really hard for me to peg the age of a roof, especially, I mean, overall it looks good. You know, we got some impact damage here. Now right in here, okay, now you know the story. But you see this deflection over here? That's pretty incredible. That's exaggerated, pronounced. That's sumping. That'll make my report as sumping right here. Deflection over there. Sumping over here over the breakfast area. This is the water heater flue right here. You see all this damage? It's not going to cause any. It's not a material defect. But this area has experienced hail. No surprise to anybody. Especially when I'm finding, you know, dings on the roof. If you're comfortable with the roofing reports that you received, then, you know, there'd be, all this is the tree just leaking on this. If you're comfortable with the roofing reports that you've received, then that's fine. I'd have my insurance company. Look at the aging on this. That's a 3-year-old roof. These pot marks. That's 3 years old. I don't think it's 3 years old. I just don't. I mean, it can be. It doesn't appear to be as few as 3 years old. What I'm encouraging my client is to get a good baseline established in regards to insurance. If your business model is to keep this house for 3 or 5 years and to move on, pick up some equity and move on, well, then it's not going to mean as much to you as if you plan on keeping this house 10 years or so. You see, most insurance companies do not like to start a relationship with a roof that's 14 years old or older, and some of them even less than that. Then they're selling you actual cash value insurance instead of replacement insurance. And while you may get replacement insurance today on a roof that's 3 years old, let's just say that, if you're trying to get replacement insurance in 10 years, you want to change insurance companies, you don't like your insurance company. Let's say this roof is 8 years old. Now you want to change insurance companies for whatever reason. You shopped, you got a better deal. The age of the roof is always going to be an issue. So you need a good baseline. You need a good baseline on where you're starting from so that you can plan accordingly. There's nothing wrong. I mean, again, if this roof's not leaking, it's not leaking. It's just got some issues. We got some things going on. If it's not leaking, then you can move in and be very comfortable for a little while.